Hello, how are you all doing? Oh, got some bad news this week, guys. The time has has run out. My time has run out. I've been waiting all day for the post person, post lady, postman. There was a lock I wanted to pick in the week for the supporters, and it was going to be this week's part of this week's prize draw. For the supporters, obviously, we're putting the 1100 series in American. So thank you, Steve. Courtesy of Steve, sent a load of these from America, much appreciated. So that's going to be part of the prize. And there was this super duper lovely, brilliant lock that I was going to pick, and you was going to win, but it's not turned up. So lastminute.com, as the Queen once told me, that's the singer, not Her Majesty, the show must go on. So we've got the 1100, and you're going to get a Andy-Mac t-shirt, and it's going to look like this. Oh, how you doing? How you doing? Look at that, look at that. We've got new merch. Perch the merch. I'll put sizes and different colours and whatnot when I've got them sorted out. I'm hoping to do them for a tenner each with postage. So, perch the merch. Something coming soon, so we've got to keep an eye out for that. Right, I'm bloody knackered, so we better get over there and look what mess I've got. I'll be back in a minute. So, whoever wins, you need to let me know your size so I can make sure it fits you. Okay, I have a few different sizes, so we can hopefully find your size. So what we've got on the table here? What we've got on the table? Oh, well, I've been working on. I don't know how many of you. This is Eddie from Torquay. Eddie, my friend. The tool's not called Eddie, it's for Eddie. Eddie from Torquay. Bless him, got into lever picking in his 70s. God bless you, Eddie. And he loves liver picking, and he wanted my new tool. So Eddie, this is actually your tool, the one with the adjustable bar at the back. You know, it's like magic. Disappears and it goes big again. So it's nice adjustable locking nuts. It's 5 gauge, an adjustable collar for different depths of locks. That collar can come off if you want it to, or adjust it at any length. So there's your beautiful 5 gauge tool, Eddie. As promised, I spoke to him this morning, bless him. And then there's your focus 7 gauge tool. Again, same sort of doodah. Great for if you've got really tight door jams, you can get in. If you want to feel a bit more comfortable when you're picking stuff, you can set it anywhere you like and lock it off, and it's not going to go anywhere. And of course, your wires, Eddie. I've not forgotten about your wires, your small and your large. So they come in this case. This is my new set that I've been working on. So Eddie, I shall post that out to you straight away. Now, because we've not got that beautiful lock that I wanted to pick, we're going to have to look at something else. So what we're going to do, Eddie, if you don't mind, if you're okay with it, we're going to borrow your tool for a moment. And then we're going to have a little look at a few different scenarios. We'll have a look at what we've got on here. Let's have a look. Let's under the pot of dreams. So supporters, thank you again for all your support. We've got we'll have a look at a Yale, and we'll look at some binding order. So we'll talk about binding order in a little bit more detail, see what happens, and I'll show you. So basically the principle, see that bolt moves backwards and forwards. When you put pressure on that curtain, you're putting it as close to the top of the lever pack as you possibly can. But inevitably, when these levers are made, and even that little hole there in the back, there's a bit of movement in it, and you'll find one lever will be sticking out a fraction of a mil more than the other. So if you can find him, what that'll do is bring that bolt a tiny bit more forward, and then the others will start to bind. Because sometimes when you're picking locks, you'll be going like, it's not binding, like I'm pushing on that, it's not binding. So one of them is sticking out a tiny bit more than the other to stop that binding. So if you can find that one, then you'll know the next one will bind, and then the next one will bind. Now, inevitably, what happens is sometimes when you lift one, when you have got one already binded, you disturb it and the other one drops down. So you're going to have to go back and find it again. But that's the principle of your binding order. And we'll talk about that in a bit more detail. Shame that lock's not here, but hey. So I shall see you over there. And Eddie, thanks for letting me borrow your new tool and your new shiny wire. I shall try not to make it too mucky. So, see you tomorrow. Okay, let's test Eddie's tool out. Eddie from Torquay, let's test your tool out. Right, we're going to use this wire. It's one of the longer ones. So you get one short and one long. Short one does our second leggy, and this is really designed for Fortress Strongbolt, but it will do Yale as well. So we can see what's going on. I want to try and show you what happens when you pick through one of these curtain locks in a bit more detail. So we've gone all the way through. We're lucky. We can see the wire. We can get front to back. We've got all 5 levers in there. There's a bolt stop, the bit we need to keep an eye on, and then you got 4 notches as one on the bottom and the rest are on the top. Well, when you go pick through them, you've got to try. The trick is, I'll use my finger there, to try and rest that lever just on the lip by taking pressure forward. So it's finding one of them what's going to bind. That's what's binding. So that's the point of your bolt where your levers have got to sit at that point so the bolt can go through the gate. So you've got to line them all up, and they're all different heights because that's the cut to your key. So we're going to try and line them up. Now what happens is, with these particular levers, you'll find one that will drive the binding order. So one is probably slightly fractions of a thou sticking out a little bit more than the other. And once you get that one to bind, what happens, that brings the bolt forward a little bit more. There's a little bit of slop in there already, see a tiny bit? That'll bring the bolt forward a little bit more and it will sit. And then you get to the next one, which will be slightly out a bit more, and then that will sit on top over there. And then it's finding through them. Now sometimes you could touch one which would disturb that fraction of a thou, and then you'll drop them back down. So it's finding which one drive, and I'll talk about one that drives. You'll always find one that is slightly sticking out a little bit more than the other. And once you've found that one, I use a term called the driver. So it's probably something I've just made up, but I use that term driver. So the driver dictates how we're going to pick through this lock by which one is slightly sticking out more than the other. To find him first, lift him out of the way, that'll bring the bolt forward, and then the other ones will start to bind. So let's try and find which one it is. So we can see the curtain at the back. So we've got front to back. So if we try let's bounce the 5th one first. So the 5th one's staying up, but it's sticking up. So we've got the 5th. We'll go for 4. Is he going to stay? 4's going to stay. Now the 3rd, just see that it's just that's slightly tighter. We've got the 3rd. We've got the second. I can feel it just tight. We've lost one somewhere. We'll go first. I feel the first just catching. You can ease off the pressure just a tiny amount. Now I think the 3rd is just caught on a. There we go, I lifted him out. It was just caught on a false notch. And then, see, it's just catching there. He's not quite ready. And we're going to, now what we have to do is 5th, little nudge. 4th, little nudge. 3rd, little nudge. 2nd. 2nd's tight now. So 2nd must be sitting on that lip. So what we need to do is, that's it. I've lost 1st. Get 1st back up. 3rd's dropped down a little bit. Let's release the pressure a tiny amount. Let's see which one it is. And there you go. So I hope that's sort of... Okay, let's see if we can see the same sort of situation and the lock behave in the same way that we did on that Yale. So we've got loads of slop in this one. Look at that, it's loads. 5 levers again, it's 5 gauge. We use the same wire. This wire is designed for fortresses. It's longer because you've got some real high cuts. If you get a 1, they're really high lifts. So what we need to do is find out which one is going to obviously dictate the binding order. And each time we hit one, that bolt should drive back slightly into the body lock, so we can allow the next one to be actually sit on the lip of top of that bolt so it can bind. And it's finding out which one it is. So we start from the front on this one. I use this technique, I use my finger on and off. So I'm bouncing one, and you can feel when you bounce, it's not catching at all. So you think, it ain't one. One's not sticking out a lot. And you go for 2. Now, 2's bouncing, but it's just letting down again. 3. Get on the 3. Fish about. 3. 3. Now there's a lot less movement. So 3 is just holding where it needs to be. Don't let the pressure go. Look for 4 and 5. 4. No, 5th's tight. Tight. See how tight that is? Dead tight. So ease off a little bit. Get on him. So that movement then. He's not in a false notch, but he's letting me come a little bit forward. So we're back on 1. 1's not quite holding yet. 2's tight. Tiny little bit movement. 1. So it's picking through him. So try from the back this time. Hold of him. 5th is at the line, but is just bouncing. Now 4th is tight. So 4th on this particular lock, you see, look, there's no movement there. I'm going to have to be really careful and not lose 5th. And nudge him up. There you go. That tiny little movement. Did you see that tiny movement? Let's do it again. Keep it. It's tiny. It's tiny. So let's go for 5th. Just try and nudge him up. 5th. 5th staying where he is. For 4th. 4th's tight. Now, see that movement then? Did you see that tiny movement? Now he's taking it forward. So basically now the rest of them will start to bind. So we'll go to 1. 1 wouldn't bind before, would it? 1's still not binding. Okay. 2's tight. So it's 4 and 2 now. A little tiny movement forward. 1. And then we'll through. Okay, we'll do the prize draw next. Okay, then let's see whose weekend we can make. So supporters, thank you very, 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 very much. It's a reasonably clean thumbs up. So thank you guys for your support. Much appreciated. So whoever wins this week, remember you have the 1100 series American, courtesy of Steve. Thank you, Steve, for letting us have these. And a t-shirt. You just got to remember to let me know your size, okay? So whoever wins, get in touch and say, I need X, whatever size, and I can sort it out. So apologies that lock never come again. Bloody postman, post person. Never mind, I suppose stuff's going crazy with all these lockdowns. People are posting everything. So everybody, good luck. Have a fantastic weekend. Let's see if we can make someone... who is it gonna be? Ronald Lewis. Congrats, Ron. I do hope you would like a t-shirt. It's not t-shirt weather, but you have an Andy Mac t-shirt and a 1100 series American. Ronald, have a fantastic weekend. Guys, if you like the video, remember, put the old thumbs up, slap the like, and put a nice comment, something nice and polite. That's what we're all about. Everyone's going to be nice to each other. Have a fantastic weekend, and I'll speak to you all very, very soon. And hopefully, fingers crossed, if I can, that lock will turn up next week. Ta-da!